Hi there. In this latest episode of 10-Minute Rants, I've decided to visit the subject of wind turbines, renewable energy. The reason for that is twofold. I've had someone who I've argued with for a decade now about independence telling me that this wind turbine business is going to be Scotland's new oil, and how we can be such a rich independent country because of it. And I've been getting told on social media how lucrative these wind farms are to invest in, and the dividends that are payable to them from them are astronomical apparently. And some people are making a bit of coin out of it. So I thought I would have a wee look into this industry that, to be fair, I didn't know too much about other than past these big massive white things in the motorway. So it appears that the wind turbine business is split into two sections. What we see from the motorways and the local roads are the onshore. That's the one that's been with us the longest. And the newest is offshore. And that's seemingly where we're going to become very, very rich in Scotland. This is going to be our new oil. Watch this space, right? So I've had a look at both those sections of the wind turbine business, and I'm shocked, absolutely shocked in what I found. And it didn't take me too long, but painstaking knowing where to look. But let's first of all look at the land onshore turbine farms that are scattered the length and breadth of Scotland. And I've identified the top 8 wind farms in Scotland and had a look at who actually owns them. Because Scotland's going to be so rich, you would imagine that there would be public sector involvement in this. So, the top 8 biggest wind farms onshore in Scotland just now. The first one's Blacklaw, that's up in Forth. I've seen it, 54 turbines up there. It's owned by Scottish Power. You think, oh, that's good. Scottish Power own one of the biggest onshore wind farms in Scotland. Scottish Power is a subsidiary of a Spanish business and has been for some time. They actually own 2 of the biggest. They own another one, Whiteley Wind Farm, which is down Eaglesham in Renfrewshire, East Renfrewshire. They own that as well. A quarter of the biggest are owned by Scottish Power, Spanish company. The Braes of Doon in Perthshire, 152 wind turbines. The Clyde Wind Farm at Abingdon, you can see that off the M74. And the Hagyard Hill, which is down in Carricknairshire. Massive wind farms, 52, 152, and another 152 turbines on these 3. Owned by SSE, which a lot of people, Glasgow, will be used to seeing those adverts round about the exhibition campus. And again, their Scottish name abbreviated, you would think Scottish. Swiss. What they'd done was, the Swiss have owned this, but they were registered in the UK, and recently they moved ownership to Switzerland, around about the same time as Labour were making noises that if they came into power, they would nationalise these wind turbines. Kind of tricky when it's not a British company. So SSE now owned, and their main holding company is in Switzerland. So they own 3 out of the top 8. The Crystal Rig Place, that's in Lammermuir Hills, that's big 85 turbine wind farm. That's owned by Fred Olsen Renewables. If anybody's aware of the name Fred Olsen, it'll be no surprise to know that they're a Norwegian company. We have the Far Wind, FAR Wind Farm, that's up in Inverness. Energy own them. Sort of British sounding name. It's a German company. So that's our 8 biggest, possibly more. I only stopped at the biggest 8. If we continued on, there might be even more depressing news for you. But the top 8 wind turbine farms that we can all see when we're driving about Scotland, none of them British owned, not even Scottish. So let's look at this new thing that's coming, this offshore wind turbines. Now, there's been small pockets allowed to be leased through time, but there's been no leases sold for about a decade. However, recently, in the last 6-9 months, Scottish Government have sold the leases for 14. If you look at the available seabed that you can put offshore wind turbines on, the 17 leases that have sold account for about 80 to 90% of the total available. So practically all of it has been sold off in leases. Now, you would think something with such potential earnings for companies and shareholders and stuff, that these leases would be very expensive. So did I, until I found out they've been sold and hawked by the Scottish Government for a total of £700 million. 700 million. But the beneficiaries of these offshore ones are, there's some crackers here, BP Alternative Energy. Now, BP is now a multinational company. When you look into the ownership of it, people all over the world. But the top 5 shareholders, who between them own about a third of the whole company, are all American. So they've got one. SAC Renewables, who we've spoke about previously, the Swiss, they've got one. Falk Renewables, they've got 2 of the new leases, they're Italian. Shell New Energies, again, Shell had a sort of strange background. Shell used to be a Dutch company, and then it became a British company. Now it's another multinational. And the largest single shareholder is BlackRock Asset Management. I would suggest you go and Google them. Quite dubious. Remember the property crash in America and all these houses getting taken back. They basically bought all the bad debt off the banks and repossessed all these houses in America. They're worth fortunes. We've got Vattenfall, Swedish company, they got one. DEME, they bought 2 of these new leases, they're Belgian. Ocean Winds is a Spanish company. Scottish Power, who we've already discussed, are Spanish. BayWa, B-A-Y-W-A, German. Northland Power, they got 2 of the leases, they're Canadian. And the last company to get one was Magnora, Norwegian company. So there we have it, folks. Scotland's new oil, whiskey, big thing that's going to make us all rich. It's been pawned to all these multinational companies all over the world, and some of them are actually state-owned. Some of the people investing in our wind turbine power, are state-owned businesses. So, and it's strange because these 17 leases have went through, the sales of these went through just after Labour Party had made a big shout about bringing them back into the public purse, all turbines. So good luck with that. If you can get any of these back, if Labour do win, as people think they will, the next general election at Westminster, try and nationalise that with these companies all over the world. Fallacy, total fallacy. The SNP yet again convinced their cult without too much need. These people just buy into any nonsense that the SNP and their powers that be want to feed the cult, and they've fed them. See, this is the way the whole thing went. The cycle went: oil's our gold. That's going to be our liquid gold. That's going to make us the richest wee country in the world. You know, we'll all have diamonds coming out our flower beds in our garden, and gold pathways. And then, when they lost a bit of power and needed to bring the Greens in, oil became a bad thing. Don't want oil. People back in 2012 that were singing you should vote for independence, purely argument based on oil, we're going to be so rich. Look at Norway. That's what they kept telling us. These people now tell you that they never said that at all. And the new tune is, because again it's nice and it's cuddly and it's green and it ticks a lot of boxes, is the wind. Scotland will be one of the biggest producers of electricity from wind. I quite believe that, but I don't think that takes much persuading. But the problem we've got is all foreknown. Now, you could argue, but we'll get the revenue off of that because, they'll all pay tax and they'll all pay corporation tax and they'll all pay this and they'll employ Scottish people. One of the biggest ones, actually, one of the ones up in Lanarkshire, when they built it, they employed about 200 people to build it. Since it's been built, they run the whole thing with 7 folk. This is one of the biggest wind farms in Scotland. It's ran by 7 people. So, don't kid yourself that there's going to, we'll get knock-on effect for that, we'll build businesses and, the towns will all get great because of the money came. Total bollocks. 7 people run one of the biggest wind farms in Scotland. That might be the tune with them all, I don't know. But I found that out when I was just looking to find out the ownership of one. The one up in Lanarkshire. 7 folk. So, the money it'll generate for these businesses is great. You think they're going to employ loads of people in this industry. No, you're not. And we're going to live off the revenue. Are you? Aye. Good luck. You try getting off these multinational companies. Spread all over the world. Predominantly Europe, mainland Europe, which I find particularly odd. So this is the Scottish Government that's trying to cosy in with Europe. And probably 3/4 of the leases given to companies within the EU, who some of them are the national businesses. Work that one out. So it's just fallacy. So see when anybody tries to tell you that wind turbine is the future of Scotland, please remember this video and tell them, unfortunately, you've fell for it again. This is one of the biggest fallacies I've ever heard about. This one's bonkers. We actually believe that wind turbines are going to make Scotland one of the richest independent countries in the world. We've hawked it, we've pawned it, and the new part of the scam is we've pawned it for 700 million quid for the leases. You want to believe the SNP, you want to believe the Scottish Government, you want to believe the cybernats, you want to believe the SNP cult, fill your boots, absolutely fill your boots. But see, in 10 years, if you do, you won't get independence. You're killing it yourself. But if you did, God forbid that ever happened, where's the revenue coming from? There's no oil. We're killing that. The wind, we've hawked it. The whiskey, possibly. Enough to keep a country going with all the freebies the year. We get free bikes, free computers, free healthcare. It's got to be paid by somewhere. And we were led to believe that the pot of gold was wind turbines. Bollocks. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, got this far, give me a wee thumbs up, please. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button and hit the notifications. I'll see you all again soon. Have a lovely day.